Hello, my loves. Today is Saturday, January 6th, 11:46 a.m. It's amazing because until just now, I could have sworn it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I come to you all today with reading a message from the ancestors on not only what Saturdays should mean to us, but what this time should mean to us as well. What I've come to learn, if you've been keeping up with the 2024 forecast reading as the first and second and third episode of A Goddess's Woes, then you know that a lot of this year is going to be about self preservation, doing things that are good for us and crucial to our growth and our well being. Today, the ancestors talk about mental peace. They talk about how allowing yourself to be free, to be you, meaning, right? Not worrying so much about what other people think of us, not being so concerned with others' opinions and projections, and being able to recognize them just as that, opinions and projections, right? We come into this world alone, we leave this world alone. Well, we're never really alone, if you know what I mean. But they talk about how this is going to be the message for the overall year. This year is going to be about prioritizing your peace. If you allow yourself to have peace, then you will. And if that's not a beautiful message, I don't know what is. We talk about the day Saturday. Saturday is the day of peace. For a lot of us, these are our offering days to the ancestors, right? We go to the Agungun and we ask them for closure, for health, for wealth. And I do not mean just the materialistic things, I mean wealth within our lives. Wealth that is going to transmute into the next lifetime and the lifetime after that and be passed down for generations. On Saturdays, we truly do acts for peace. For those of you that have been following along with our magical herbalism classes on Patreon, then you know, right, that Saturday is ruled by the day, well, not the day. The day Saturday is ruled by the planet Saturn. Saturn is our karmic planet. It's our planet of behavioral changes that need to be made, or us making behavioral changes and making changes in general for long-term growth. That is what Saturn is for. So when you think of Saturn Day, right, we give offerings on this day because offerings, those blessings, that ashe, last for generations and generations and generations. So I want you all to think about that. I want you to take that into consideration. This day, this specific day, is described by the Four of Clubs, the literal card of mental peace, strength of mind. For those of you that have followed with our cartomacy series, learning playing cards for witches and whatnot, if you've been in the Hoodoo Shop lately, the Four of Clubs in reverse is also the card of stubbornness, right? So it can represent, how if we allow these things to, they can take over stress, disease, right? Heartbreak, poverty, things of that nature. But really, fear, allowing fear to take over. So, with this card coming out upright, the ancestors are saying that not only do they have our back, but they're proud of us for taking initiative and they encourage us to continue to do so. The next card that comes out is the Seven of Diamonds. And ooh, If you know me, then you know I love my sevens. I adore them because the seven is the number of spirit. When you see a seven, you know that God is close by. God is here. He is near, or she, for those of you that prefer she. Look, I do not judge, or they, for those of you that prefer they. Look. So, the seven of diamonds, we know that the diamonds is the suit of fortune, right? Wealth, material wealth that has manifested for us, but not just material wealth, spiritual wealth, abundance. And that is what the seven of diamonds today represents. The ancestors talk about an abundance of consciousness, meaning the wealth of wisdom. That is what Saturday is for. That is what we get to prioritize today. And that is a blessing. It represents allowing spirit to guide you and continuing to have faith. How wonderful and lovely these things can be. How beneficial it can be for our health, our wealth, and our well-being, and ultimately our future, right? It's a beautiful card. It also represents letting go of money fears, allowing God to take over, and to know that even though you may not have the money for the things that you think that you want, you will always have the financial abundance and prosperity and resources for the things that you need. And last but not least, we have the Nine of Spades. And the Nine of Spades is the card of death. We've talked about the Nine of Spades, about how death can be scary. But oddly enough, guess what, you guys? The Nine of Spades is ruled by the Saturn card. Embrace death. Embrace the things that need to go. Because the longer you hold on to things that you don't need, the sicker you will be. The worse you will feel. The slower you will move. These things will hold you down. They will hold you back. And so you have to let them go. They're good for you. And ultimately, they're karma. So we have to, once again, right? Like how we talked about in the first episode of A Goddess's Woes, we talked about how accountability is important. We talked about this in the second episode as well, about how accountability and shame cannot exist in the same place because shame will prevent you from moving on. So take all of this into consideration during this time. Remember to move with patience and poise surrounding you. You are the ultimate blueprint, the remote control. How are you supposed to have control over anything if you cannot have control over yourself, right? So, I want you all to think about that. Think about it and stay tuned for the next episode of A Goddess's Woes.